Hi everyone, my name is Emily Stout and I'm a graduate peer mentor at PSU in the University Studies Department. I'm just making this video because I know that there is often a lot of confusion and misunderstanding about university studies, and in particular the junior or upper cluster requirement. So hopefully this will sort of clarify things for you and answer questions. If not, I guess I kind of feel like once a peer mentor, always a peer mentor. Feel free to email me even if you haven't been my student in the past. I'll put my email in the description, so that's just go ahead and email me with your questions and I'm happy to help. I recognize that this is kind of a confusing process sometimes. So we'll just start at the PSU webpage. Hopefully everyone is familiar with BanWeb. You can either just go to banweb.pdx.edu or you can click on My PSU up here at the top and it'll give you various options here, and BanWeb is under School Tools. So once you're logged into BanWeb, the Student Services tab is where we'll be looking at. So here's also my face, just so you know who I am and I'm not some voice in a video talking to you. Add me on LinkedIn if you like. So when you're working on a bachelor's degree, PSU requires 180 credits. So you have your major requirements. For example, if you're a communications major, there'll be a list of classes you need to take from that department. You'll have your general education classes, which are university studies in this case, and then also degree options. For example, if you take a Bachelor's of Science option, you'll need to take some additional science credits. So we'll be looking at how these requirements and these requirements overlap. So when we look at the University Studies program, excuse my keyboard being so loud, there's a program map on the website, and it basically details sort of what this program looks like. So if you're transferring in, you may start at any one of these points, but basically as a freshman, you would take or have the credit for a year-long course. As a sophomore, there are 3 term-long courses. As a junior, there are 3 term-long courses, and as a senior, there's 1 term-long capstone. So that's a total of 45 credits. And then if we go back to this sort of triangle map here, that's here, and as your major requirement in university studies add up, you need to have at least 72 upper division credits. So we'll address that also in a moment. So if you just search pdx.edu junior cluster, this will be the first link, and I'll put the link also in the description. But basically, the sophomore inquiries come with themed titles. So for example, Understanding Communities, Natural Science Inquiry, Leading Social Change, Interpreting the Past, and so on. And basically, you'll need to pick 3 upper cluster or junior cluster courses from one of the themes. So if you didn't transfer in, you started at PSU, you would have taken 3 sophomore inquiries, and you would have needed to pick your favorite theme. So for example, say your favorite theme of the ones you took was Leading Social Change, and there's this nice document that indicates all of the junior cluster classes that are an option for that theme. So if you transferred in and you only took 1 cluster, that is by default your theme. If you transferred in and you don't need to take any sophomore inquiries, then you get to pick your theme from scratch, so that's pretty exciting. If you are starting at the beginning, I would recommend that you think about if you're going to try and go for a minor as well, and sort of maybe direct your minor and your junior cluster to come together. So for example, if you are a communications minor, you could take media literacy, communications in groups, and persuasion, and those would be your 3 junior cluster courses, and they could actually also apply to your minor. However, if you are a communications major, you can't double dip. So if we go back to this triangle, you can't have credits here that are also applying here. A minor is sort of out to the other side, or I suppose a Venn diagram overlapping with university studies, if that makes sense. So when we're looking at this document, you may also notice that all of these courses end with a U on the course number. That basically just indicates that it's a junior cluster, so as you're scrolling through BanWeb, you may notice that on other courses. And if we go back to this document here, it indicates that you need at least 72 upper division credits to graduate. So that's 300 and 400 level courses. So Say, for example, your total of university studies courses that are upper division and your upper division major classes only come to, say, 68 credits. You'll still need 4 additional upper division credits to graduate. So for that, I would recommend looking again at junior cluster courses. So anything with a U. If it's outside of your major and minor requirements and university studies requirements, you're just adding another one, say a 4th one. Take a look at these classes. And I recommend them because they are university studies, meaning they need to be open to students of any major. So for example, not just a communications student. A student from the biology department would need to come and be able to take persuasion and basically not struggle desperately in the class. So they typically start at a pretty easy level, and obviously you're going to learn a lot and they will get progressively more difficult as the term goes on, but they aren't typically super difficult classes, and they're often really enjoyable and meant for students of all majors to take. So hopefully that can help you out. I took a ton of junior clusters towards the end of my degree, and I actually took a number of additional senior capstones just because I needed to take some classes, and they are typically pretty fun. So, taking a look at BandWeb, which I know can be pretty frustrating sometimes, the Student Services tab is basically where you want to be. If you click on Registration and Class Schedule, there's an option to look up classes to add. So you can search by term. We'll do Fall 2018. Typically, if I'm not looking for a specific department, I'll go to Advanced Search. I just find it easier. And what you can do is you can push Command or Control A and select all of the departments if you like. And then you could also select a cluster. So I think we were looking at leading social change. So we'll go down and select that. And again, we're selecting all of these. You could choose all of the clusters and just sort of see a list if you're looking for additional upper division courses. You could just pick the one. You can also narrow it down by start and end time and days, but I don't typically do that. And there is an option for whether you want the course to be online, hybrid, or any option. So we'll just hit search and sort of see what comes up. And there again, we see all those communication classes, so media literacy, communication in groups, persuasion, etc. And then there's a variety of classes. And here's where, for example, if I wanted to take Intro to Urban Planning, you would check the box and click register. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that answers some questions. On student services, there are a couple of other things that you may find helpful under the registration tab. The course planning guide is something that they've recently added to this tab on BandWeb. It's an old tool, but they have put a new look on it, which is a little easier to navigate. So if you check that out, you can basically type in, for example, the biology department, and we'll see what comes up. And it basically shows all of the courses that the biology department offers and what terms they're offered. For example, fall term, fall term, fall term. This course is offered winter terms for the next 3 years. And there's a sort of key at the top to show whether it's concrete or sort of tentative. So this is a pretty helpful thing in planning for your degree, but also just for thinking about your university studies requirements. So hopefully that helps. Again, my name is Emily Stout. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any about this process. I'll put my email in the description, as well as some of these helpful links. And yeah, good luck with your university studies classes.